Good morning. Thank you for joining us for our latest Coffee with the IA webinar series, where we are going to be hearing from Angelo Mazzei, the IA Industry Achievement Award winner. We're really pleased that you're going to be here listening to us this morning. My name is Coleman Garrison. I am the Government and Public Affairs Director for the Irrigation Association, and later we're going to be joined by Angelo as well as the IA President, Brian Winan. But first, we are proud to say that Hunter Sinninger is the sponsor of the IA Awards program, and we have a short message from Hunter Sinninger, so we'll get that teed up right now.
Hi, thanks for joining us today. Despite the challenges of the past year, our commitment to innovation and customer support is stronger than ever. As a leading manufacturer of landscape irrigation and outdoor lighting solutions, we're working hard to meet the complex needs of today's market. To our valued customers and the industry at large, our partnership remains. While we can't connect face-to-face, we'll be with you every step of the way to provide the products, tools, and training you need to succeed. Thank you for supporting Hunter Industries and FX Luminaire.
Okay, so once again, thank you to Hunter and Sinninger for being a sponsor of the IA Awards program. So again, this morning we have Angelo Mazzei joining us. He won the Industry Achievement Award, and quick bio to read for him, and then we will move on with the webinar. Angelo Mazzei is the chairman and CEO of Mazzei Injector Company. During his 40-year career, during his 40-year career, Mazzei has received 20 patents, including the Mazzei Injector in 1978, an innovation that he crafted in his garage, and I believe we're going to see some samples of that later. Mazzei has remained committed to supporting research education and has closely worked with Fresno State University to donate funds, equipment, and his technical expertise. He is deeply involved with projects with Fresno State's Center for Irrigation Technology and has helped establish its International Center for Water Technology. We all look forward to hearing more about Angelo and his work. So without further ado, I'm proud to welcome Angelo Mazzei to the screen this morning, and he'll be joined by the IA President, Brian Winan, who'll be asking questions so we can get to know everyone. Please enter any questions you have in the chat, and we will try to get those answered throughout this webinar. And again, this webinar is also being recorded, so you can view it and share it. It'll be on our YouTube page, so please let us know if you need a copy of that. Angelo, Brian, I'm going to turn it over to you. Thank you for joining us this morning.
All right, Coleman, thanks for that great introduction, and what a wonderful, nice bio. It's short, considering all the achievements that Angelo's done in his lifetime. So we're going to get to hear a lot more about that. And I want to welcome everybody to the Coffee with the IA, and especially want to welcome and congratulate Angelo on the Industry Achievement Award. I can't imagine what it would feel like after all these years of being in the irrigation industry, and not only just being, nominated in there, but then actually winning it. Angelo, tell me, how does it feel to get this award from the Irrigation Association?
Well, first of all, I'd really like to thank the Irrigation Association and the sponsors, Hunter and Sinninger, for the Recognition Awards program. And I am truly appreciative to receive this prestigious award. And I really got to thank the employees at Mazzei Injector for nominating me. I really owe this honor to my wife and family and the many dedicated employees that have made Mazzei Injector Company a success over the 43 years in business.
Yeah, that's a long duration. I mean, that's quite an achievement to do that. Now, as I mentioned in your bio, you had gone to, I believe, Fresno State, and then went to work on an uncle's farm. And I understand. Tell me a little bit about this farm and what made you think of at that point in time about the injector based on this farm that you were working on.
Sure. Before I get into that, I got to tell you a little bit about me. As a son of an immigrant from Italy, I grew up on a 25-acre family farm in Fresno, and I'm the last of 5 children. We farmed crops such as tomatoes, bell peppers, onions, and the irrigation was comprised of ditches, checks or blocks, siphon pipes, and furrowed out rows. So I got my education in irrigation pretty darn early, maybe 4 or 5 years old. I was out in the field. In 1968, I went to work on my uncle's 10,000-acre farm, and he farmed vegetables. And I was hired to help manage the farm equipment operation. Mazzei Farms is located in the Bakersfield area, and of course, that's where I ended up having a company. And the farms grew potatoes, melons, sweet corn, bell peppers, and other vegetable row crops, and had cotton as a rotation crop. At Mazzei Farms, irrigation was mostly sprinkler and gated tubing. They graduated from the siphons to the gated tubing. And irrigation systems comprised of deep well water pumps, reservoirs to store the water, and diesel engine driven booster pumps to boost the water pressure to 60 psi for the sprinkler irrigation. Back then, the liquid fertilizer was delivered on the suction side of the booster pump, and it was quite simple. I looked at Venturi's way back. Well, actually, the completion in the Bakersfield area of the California Aqueduct in 1970 allowed water to be delivered to 160-acre parcels through pipes and turnouts, and generally at a pressure between 10 and 40 psi, and eliminated the need for reservoirs, but still needed a booster pump. Now, that really eliminated the old way of sucking fertilizer in on the suction side of the pump, because now it's pressurized. So I looked at Venturi's to see if we could use that from the pressure side of the pump to the suction side of the pump, but there was not enough differential for a standard Venturi to operate properly. So that's when I started my research and development. How to improve the Venturi with less differential. And in my garage, I owned a lathe, so I started working on using plastic fittings, pipe fittings, and made various changes from inlet cone angle to throat length of the injector to the outlet cone angle and the position of the suction port. By trial and error, I came up with a successful solution and was able to create suction at only 20% differential with great mixing, and I applied for a patent. It was a real challenge to convince a patent attorney that, you know, a 181-year invention had any improvements. And he said, you know, any improvement probably already done. So you're going to spend a lot of money to get a patent. But I was really persistent because I thought I had stumbled on something that really would be beneficial for the irrigation industry. And so I prevailed, and we wrote up the claims, and a patent was applied for.
And Angelo, what were some of the things that the Venturi philosophy was already being used for that made you think of it to be applied in the agriculture fertilizing industry?
Well, the Venturi itself was something that was used in when you had great differential pressures. But it's kind of interesting because my wife, Mary, and I met with a patent attorney when we got the patent, and he gave us some pretty good advice. He said, you know, with the passion and persistence in your development, I'll give you some advice. He said, rather than selling the patent, why don't you sell the product? And we took that advice with great enthusiasm. And 1978 was a major year for us. We got the patent, or I got the patent. We had our first child, and we started our company. Mary was the bookkeeper, and I did the manufacturing and sales. And with the adoption and acceptance of drip irrigation, actually the company grew because this injector lended itself to drip irrigation by putting it around a pressure regulator valve.
Yeah, and even after your first patent in 1978, you went on later to do at least 19 more patents that we're aware of, and I think a total of 20 patents now in your name.
That's correct. 20 related patents to what we're doing. I had a couple, I actually have 22. A couple of them were fun patents.
Oh, good. Well, good. And it sounds like, I mean, a great career. And what are you most proud of and accomplishing in your career?
Well, with solving the challenges in an industry and satisfying its needs, my most proud accomplishment is building a company of dedicated people with great character who establish a culture of innovation, collaboration, service, and uncompromising quality. We don't build functional obsolescence in our products. We still have injectors operating 40 years later, but we do find new markets. We've expanded into the pool and spa market, industrial, municipal, and even the wine industry. But we do have technological obsolescence by continually improving our products, and got a second patent on the injector in 1999, which we added veins for more efficiency and better mixing.
And I think from what my information was telling me, you were recognized by the American Agricultural or Society of Agricultural Engineers in 1987 already for one of the year's 50 best agriculture-related inventions, and then mentioned in the recognized by Charles Burt of Irrigation Training and Research Center over at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. I said that kind of bad, but that you were mentioned in the latest edition of the ITR for Irrigation book.
Yes, really appreciative, and I have to owe that to the people that work for me. We strive all the time to try to improve the product and find new applications.
I was reading too a little bit about how air injection, how you can create a better root zone through something in regards to what you can inject through the Venturi injector or the Mazzei injector. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Maybe start back in 2000.
Yeah, and this goes to the involvement with the International Center of Water Technology at Fresno State University with Claude Laval and David Zildowski, which gives hands-on experience for students, of course. But Dave Guruhu and your education award winner, Florence Cassell Sharma, were both involved in validating new ideas and product applications in air injection irrigation. They worked on validating the results over many seasons at the university and at growers' acreage.
Oh, that's fantastic. It's fantastic. Now, you and your company have been great supporters of the Irrigation Association with activities for decades. I mean, you've been around very long. Why do you feel it's important to support the Irrigation Association, and what have you found most rewarding in that?
Well, I think the Irrigation Association offers some incredible information and allows, just like the certification programs have tremendous value for our industry, teaching proper methods of implementation and having well-trained individuals as irrigation specialists. But it is important to be active in our industry and trade organization to both learn and teach. And most rewarding for me, for the Irrigation Association, has been the conferences where we are able to interact with the people and get feedback from customers.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. We've got obviously the show coming up in San Diego here at the beginning of December. And I find that to be one of the most important things at the show is to actually collaborate with peers and discuss new and different things in regards to irrigation and its application. So I guess as we ask the questions, what, you've been in 43 years, I've been in probably just a little over 40 years. What would you tell somebody just getting into the industry, some advice as a senior person in the industry?
Well, I'll tell you, there are incredible opportunities available today, more so than ever before, with computer-driven technologies in irrigation, satellite imaging, to artificial intelligence for more efficient application of water and nutrients, and developing more new efficient ways to reuse water for irrigation. I just recently spoke last week to a large owner of a large farming operation, and he has 1,000 acres of oranges being surveilled by drones. So each tree is actually serial numbered, and he gets a report. He does it once every 3 months on the plant stress and on the nutrient deficiencies. So that's where we're going. I mean, this is really becoming a scientific organization or scientific industry.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of the use of drones and technology within the industry, and I think it's wonderful the amount of crop that we can start to develop out of lands that weren't able to develop as much crop as they did in the past. So, and I know the injector has done quite a bit for getting the right fertilizers into the system. Did you have one of the early injectors that you helped make or invented?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, here's one, Brian, that was machined, and this is probably the first one. And you can see it's just a bunch of fittings. You can tell there's Schedule 80 and CPVC, and we actually use some of these for putting sulfuric acid into irrigation water to on land that had high pH issues. But this was probably one of the better ways to put sulfuric acid because it didn't freeze up the pumps. It didn't destroy the pumps, and that really was early on one of the applications that we used for. But there it is. I mean, this is a 1977 issue.
Can you show us the new ones that are molded and compared to the old ones?
Yeah, this is the first molded one, and we've actually have veins all the way from one end to the other to establish somewhat of a unique look. And we have a registered trademark on the look of this injector, similar to what Coke has on their Coke bottle. So we have the registration on the Mazzei look.
Nice, very nice. Yeah, it's certainly streamlined quite a bit from the larger ones that you had to make more by hand, I think, than now through the press.
Yeah, this one is one of the larger ones.
Wow, that would run a lot of water through, wouldn't it?
That sure is, and this one is actually used in interjection irrigation on the side stream, and very popular.
Very nice, very nice. Now, as we're kind of wrapping up here, I just wanted to ask, is there anybody else that you'd like to thank? I know that you mentioned your wife, and I know mine's been through with me on a lot of things in my businesses as well. And you mentioned you had children.
Yes, I really do have to thank my wife, Mary, for believing that we should take the risk. It's a two-person issue. So, and I have to thank our daughter for joining the company in the research and development after receiving her degree in mathematics and teaching for a few years. She actually introduced computational fluid dynamics with our company in 2009. And also John Petroso for his dedication and involvement with many aspects of ag irrigation and in the applications and sales of our product. We have a leadership team that sets the strategic direction and planning for our company, which is 5 people actually. Our president, Jeff Wynot, who has a CPA, is a multi-talented individual who runs the company like as if it was his own. And the vice president of sales and marketing, Jim Loria, with a degree in chemical engineering, with extensive experience in business and sales development, is very involved in the industry associations and communicates very well, and who has created a well-led sales team. The director of operations, Justin Bennett, who thoroughly understands the process and maintains innovative and quality-oriented culture with his team. And our CFD person, Sri Patapati, director of research and development, and has a PhD in environmental engineering with focus on CFD, not only to design, but improve our products and simulate its operating parameters. You know, our mission statement and the core values are what brings us all together with a purpose, focus, and ultimately enables us to have a successful business. Key elements to our growth is sticking to our mission.
Yeah, I read your mission statement. It's very good. And your core values also very good. So, well, that sounds really good. Angelo, tell me a little bit about, so did you immigrate, or was your father an immigrant to the US?
My father was an immigrant. He arrived in Fresno 100 years ago today.
Oh, is that right? Well, is that right? Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah, on Columbus Day. He arrived in Fresno on Columbus Day. But he was you know, a very hard worker. Got married in 1927. And of course, you know, the family, farming families usually had large families. So I was one of 5, like I said before.
Yeah, and obviously got married right before the Depression, made it through, you know, the Depression with the family, and yeah, and going from
farming, farming was a good thing to be in during those times.
Yeah, you made your own food at that point. So
exactly.
Yeah, I'm not sure how your father ended up in Fresno. Mine ended up in South Bend, Indiana, and the snow and the cold and everything else. And I always ask him, you know, when you're coming over from the other country, why here, you know? So is there a reason your father picked Fresno?
Well, his sister lived in Fresno. So he came over, didn't speak a word of English, but he was able to go to school here, get his citizenship papers. He rode a bicycle from Fresno to Madera to get his citizenship. And that's about a 30 mile ride in the evening so he can get his papers.
That's a great story. That's a great story. And then you were able to go to college and go to Fresno State. And then
Yes.
What was it like going? So your father and your uncle were nearby with their farms, and
Well, my father was in Fresno,
yeah.
and my uncle, of course, in Bakersfield. But I went to Fresno State and majored in industrial technology, which probably led me to understanding the Venturi system.
Yep.
And my independent study was actually on exhaust systems, which kind of gave me some insight into how to redesign the Venturi.
Oh yeah, I never thought about that. That's true. So I think we're about done for today. Is there anything else, Angelo, you'd like to say before we turn it back over to Coleman?
Well, I mean, I just want to thank everybody at the Irrigation Association for such a prestigious award. I'm overwhelmed. Never expected it, but I'm very appreciative. Thank you.
Well, it's well deserving, and we appreciate you and your company's support as well at the Irrigation Association, and certainly look forward to hopefully seeing you in about what, Coleman, 6-7 weeks, 8 weeks in San Diego.
Yeah, just when it starts to get cold in South Bend, Indiana, you can head to
Yeah.
California.
Time to get
Well,
out of
I'll
here.
definitely be there. I'll look forward to seeing you all.
Absolutely. And Angelo, this I know this award is well deserved, not only for your contributions to the industry, as the name of the award, the Industry Achievement Award, but your contributions to the Irrigation Association, either by participating in various activities. I know you traveled to Italy, I believe, for the EMA show, representing the IA. So representing the industry and the IA domestically, representing the industry and the Irrigation Association internationally. So definitely a well-deserved award there.
Thank you.
Well, absolutely. So again, this webinar has been recorded for those that are on right now. And certainly we'll have this up on our website. So really appreciate each of you joining us this morning to celebrate Angelo Mazzei on his recipient, as a recipient of the Industry Achievement Award. And so as we move on, again, this is a series of webinars. We have 4 total webinar interviews. We are halfway through right now. And next week we will be celebrating someone that I know Angelo knows very well in our Excellence in Education Award, Florence Castle Sharma at Fresno State. I believe you mentioned her name earlier, and I know she was excited and hope she was able to join your interview this morning. So that'll be next Tuesday, again, at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. for folks on the West Coast. And again, a thank you to Hunter Senninger for being a sponsor of this award, of the award program. So again, we look forward to you joining us next week at Tuesday to honor Florence Castle Sharma with her Excellence in Education Award. Thank you all for joining us, and you have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.